Bob, welcome, and we are very glad to have you here.
Carol, thank you very much.
From the moment Carol Chrissy introduced Bob Koop to News 4 viewers in 1981,
5:30 Live with Bob Koop.
the journalistic bar of excellence advanced a few notches higher for Buffalo TV News.
Do you ever regret your decision to become president of this country?
He was a big J journalist.
He had a love for the profession, but he was a perfectionist in the profession. And I think journalists have to be perfectionists. They have to get it right.
Senator Bob Packwood apparently has altered tape recordings of his scandal-tainted diaries.
He really kept himself up to date, up to speed, involved in what was happening on a national and a global level. And he couldn't understand why other people wouldn't do that as well.
A product of prep school and the Newhouse School at Syracuse, Koop strove for perfection and admired others whose work reflected that kind of commitment, like former Buffalo Philharmonic conductor Max Valdez.
The black and white notes on a piece of paper are a link to the soul of the past.
He lived for his gourmet magazines and his gourmet meals.
And tonight, the police are getting involved. News 4's Waddy Salvini is standing by live right now, all the way out in East Amherst with the story. Waddy, what's happening?
Former News 4 reporter Waddy Salvini was one of Bob's closest friends. Bob would babysit for Waddy's young children at the time.
We came home a little earlier than anticipated one night, and our youngest, Jacob, was awake, and he was in his jammies, and he was sitting in Bob's lap, and Bob was reading to him. And we thought, oh, this is great. You know, we love to read to our kids. Here's Bob Koop reading to our children. Bob Koop was reading cookbooks, gourmet cookbooks.
Though Bob had a strong and commanding on-air presence, he was a very private person. So when we learned that Bob had been struggling with leukemia for a decade, it came as a shock to all of us. Only Waddy and a few others knew.
And one afternoon we were driving to work, and he turned to me and says, I have leukemia. And he said, you've got to swear not to tell anybody. And I said, sure.
I sat this close to him every weekday night for 11 years and didn't know that he had leukemia. It was a lonely battle for Bob.
Lonely until Bob decided to share his prognosis with the public and his determination to try and beat leukemia.
There has not been one moment of my life in the past decade that this disease hasn't been in my thoughts every single moment of every single day.
He never gave up hope, okay, even when he was sinking. I think that was just typical of him.
Dr. Peter Ostro explored experimental treatments with Bob.
Somebody told him, you know, the chance of this working is only 1 in a million. And Bob said, well, that's fine if I'm the one. And that was the way he went about it.
Koop came to accept his fate, and in a moment that seemed to reflect a sense of humility many had not seen in the man before, News 4's main anchor had a Lou Gehrig moment at Pilot Field in Buffalo.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything that you have done for me and for my family. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
I was able to cry in private, and I was proud of him.
He knew this day was coming. He faced it without fear.
Bob Koop died on New Year's Day, 1995.
He stood for excellence, and he made a difference. And he was my friend.
His parents donated part of the estate of their only child to St. Bonaventure University's School of Journalism.
This massive explosion at a
And now with the Bob Koop Lab, it means that students can come to Bonaventure and learn how to be broadcast journalists.
There is a plaque hanging in the Bob Koop Broadcast Lab that honors his integrity as a journalist. What are the students learning?
How to tell stories, tell accurate stories, viewable stories, but ethical stories. And they're learning a morality about journalism, which I think is critical in today's world.
His greatest contribution was that he believed in the power of news, he believed in the integrity of news, he believed that if you put on a good, solid, journalistically sound newscast, people would watch it.